right, welcome back to another Ashes of Creation video. So I have actually been playing a bunch of Lost Ark over the last couple of days, and obviously I am playing the Bard class, but I do generally try to keep this channel focused on Ashes of Creation. But if you would be interested in some content on Lost Ark, either a video series or some live streaming, let me know. But today I actually want to discuss a bit about Intrepid after the launch of Ashes of Creation. So, as many of you know, Steven has said that he wants Ashes of Creation to just be the launching point for Intrepid, as they produce a lot of other games and projects. He also claims to want to change the vicious cycle that has kind of become a part of game development these days, where studios hire on tons of people for a project, and then they lay them off as soon as the game releases. And between this and the importance that Intrepid puts on a good player experience, having very active GMs, and continuing to create quality content for the game, a lot of the money that is actually made by the project should end up being put back into the project. And this is actually a large part of the reason that I support Ashes of Creation so much, is the ideals for the project and the company behind it are something that are super important to me. So then the question for me is, what is next for Intrepid after Ashes launches and becomes a smashing hit? Well, obviously, the entire team at this point shouldn't be needed to maintain the project. I'm assuming part of the studio will be moved to a new team responsible for creating new content, so new patches, new expansions, things like that. Another part will probably be in charge of maintenance and fixing the issues and bugs that are already in the project. And then the rest of the team is going to have to be moved on to starting to work on new or multiple new projects. And Steven is a businessman. He very clearly understands that companies begin to die when they stop innovating. And it's a major reason that Blizzard has started to fall off. They were actually responsible for probably some of the biggest innovations within the gaming industry to date. I mean, StarCraft more or less made esports a thing. Now, I know Counter-Strike eventually takes over and leads the prize pool for a long time, at least until MOBAs come around. But StarCraft was the first to actually show people that there were fans and money to be made from video games as a sport. It was the first thing that actually made a career in playing video games a possibility. And obviously, World of Warcraft became the gold standard for theme park MMOs. It was a smashing hit, and everyone started to copy what they were doing. Diablo sprouted an entire genre called action RPGs.
Fresh meat.
Warcraft 3 custom games spawned the MOBA, which became one of the biggest genres and esports within gaming. I mean, I used to play COW or Cyber Athletic League for the original Dota All-Stars with my friends in high school. And then Blizzard kind of just stopped. All they did was start regurgitating the same stuff over and over. I mean, after Overwatch, as you can see here in 2016, they pretty much released nothing but crappy WoW expansions. And so my question to you guys is, what types of games do you want to see Intrepid produce? Now, these games could be different types of games still within the same Ashes IP, or they could be something that is completely a brand new IP. Now, I have a couple things I would personally like to see. Many of you guys know I want an Ashes TCG. If you've hung out and watched the Two Guys in a Bard podcast, it's actually one of our bingo points because we bring it up so much. And I think there are a lot of really cool and interesting ways you could implement the node system within a TCG. I also want it to be a physical card game that can actually compete with Magic the Gathering. You can obviously have a virtual platform to play, but as long as there are also physical cards that you can buy and collect and play in real life, I think that's very important to me, at least. And I also know a lot of people are against NFTs, but I actually think a virtual card game might be one of the better uses for NFTs. But if Ashes were to create a card game, how would you guys like to see it implemented? Now, the second project I would like to see is actually an action RPG. I've played a lot of Path of Exile, a lot of Diablo. I absolutely love that game style. And I would like to see it set during the apocalypse. Now, for those who are not familiar with Ashes of Creation lore, an apocalypse happens when the ancients arrive in Vera. And they arrive from the void, and then the world gets consumed by corruption. The races of Vera retreat through the divine portals into Sanctus. Now, this ARPG could be like a horde mode game where
I
I would
shall
like to
take
see
your
an ARPG that
position
actually encourages
with
group play. So your
precision.
group are heroes that are fighting back the corruption, try and allow as many people to escape through the portals as possible. And as I said, I personally love PoE, but the barrier to entry for that game is insane. There's so much knowledge, it's so complicated, and I can understand why a lot of people either don't get into it or don't like it. And to me, Diablo 3 is a super flat game. It's just 100% linear progression that is it's just an RNG grind fest that really isn't fun. And to me, it seems like there is room for Intrepid to make a better ARPG.
Well, it seems your terms are not acceptable.
Now, the last idea I had, or last project I would like to see, is a survival sandbox game set in Sanctus. So, Sanctus is the world that they retreated to after the apocalypse. Sanctus is actually on a lower plane of existence that is further away from the source of the essence. And the source of the essence is magic within Vera. And this means that Sanctus actually has no magic. The world is completely void of magic. And imagine the races of Vera who have lived in unison with magic for ages, coming through these portals into a brand new world. They suddenly have no magic and now need to survive. So it could be like an MMO survival game where players band together, build up cities, fight over resources. My dream is a fully terraformable world where you can get in and raise things up and kind of like really plan out and build a city however you would like. And so it could be something similar to what New World was originally intended to be, a hardcore MMO survival game, and then they changed it to whatever it became. Or it could be it can be something that competes with Ark Survival Evolved, which is a game that they need an Ark 2 or they need to update it drastically, but it still has such a huge amount of players that play it. A very dedicated following. So, once again, it seems like there's room for a game of this type to be done better. Obviously, these all fall within the same IP as Ashes of Creation. I don't think any are actually that revolutionary. I just think they're really cool ways to implement some of my favorite game styles into the Ashes universe. And with the thought that has been put into Ashes of Creation in order to fix many of the glaring issues with the MMORPG genre, I have faith that Intrepid would do the same with these other game genres in order to create a better version. But anyway, let me know what ideas you guys have for future projects for Intrepid. If you guys did enjoy this content, please do leave a like and subscribe. It really helps support the channel. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.